Hello, I'm Mrs. J, and today we're going to go over the Chapter 7 CoReq homework. It's slope and y-intercept. Your slope is your rate of change. It's the change in y over the change in x. The y-intercept is a fixed cost, and the value when x is 0. In this chapter, we're going to work with linear equations, and they would be of the form y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. So notice the slope is attached to your x value. It would be the things that were per hour, per day, per kilowatt hour. It's your rate of change gets multiplied by something. B is the fixed cost. It is the amount at time 0. So when x is 0, this would drop out. That's your fixed cost. Starting amount. So if we look at a few equations just to make sure, remember slope's always attached to the variable, so this would be our slope. So the slope would be 2.5, and this would be our y-intercept. They don't always have to be in this order. Just remember that the slope's attached to the x. A lot of times when this is negative, it would be written 20 minus 5x. But negative 5 is still the slope because it's attached to the x. And the y-intercept is 20. So if we look here, our slope is the decimal 0.004. And the y-intercept would be -3. You take the sign with it. Just like this one would be a -5 for the slope. This one, the y-intercept, would be a -300. An employee earns $9.25 per hour. Is this a slope or a y-intercept? Per hour is a rate of change. So this is a slope. If we wrote the equation, y equals 9.25, if you want to use h for hours, 9.25 an hour, or you can put an x there. It's nice to use variables that stand for something in the problem, but you don't have to. Just like 9.25 an hour, then this would be wage, so we could use W for wage. But either way is fine. To rent a car for 1 day, the cost is $25 plus 15 cents per mile. This is our slope. Per mile, that makes it a rate. Set up a linear equation. So we have y equals mx plus b. If we keep the variables, 15 cents per mile, or keeping it in dollars, 0.15 per mile, x would be miles, plus our fixed cost. So it's $25. Even if you go to rent the car and then you don't drive it anywhere, you're still going to pay that $25. And so this would be your linear equation. Try one more. A salesperson worked only on commission, earning 20% of the total amount sold. Write a linear equation. So he makes 20% of the income. So that would be slope. He doesn't have, so if he doesn't sell anything, he doesn't make any money. That means that B is 0. Because if he sells nothing, he makes nothing. That's the beginning cost. 20% is the rate of change, and it should be written as a decimal. 20% of whatever the person sells. Now, if they started with $100 and then 20% of everything they sell, then we put 100 here. But they start with nothing. They only make their commission. These ones we're going to solve equations. If y equals 2.5 and x is 4, we take the 4 and plug it in to find what y equals. So you're just taking the 4 and plugging it in for x. 2.5 times 4 plus 6 is 16. Try another one. We have y equals a negative 5x plus 20. In this case, they're giving us what y is, and we need to find x. So we need to plug the 0 in for y. Now, to solve for x, we need to get this term by itself, so we want to subtract the 20. Always do the opposite. So since we're adding 20, we will subtract 20. And what you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side. So the 20s cancel and leave negative 5x here. 0 minus 20 is a negative 20. Still trying to get x by itself. To get rid of it, since this is multiplied, we divide. So x equals 4. If Jim's salary is $11.50 per hour rate and he works 5 hours, write the linear equation and then how much does Jim make? So first the linear equation, he makes $11.50 an hour. Doesn't say anything else, just the rate of change. So y equals $11.50 per hour. Now if you wanted to use variables, this would be his wage, and he makes $11.50 per hour. So either one of these would be correct. He works 5 hours, then we're going to plug that in for hours. $11.5 times 5, $57.50. So his wages are $57.50. Try one more. If my phone costs $25 and I pay a monthly charge of $15, write the linear equation. So we're going to find cost. It's $25 plus a monthly charge of $15. That makes that the rate of change, monthly charge, 15M. So the cost is 25 plus 15M. Could use X and Y, and that's fine. What is my total cost after 10 months? Well, they're giving us months. We put it in for month. I always put parentheses when I go to plug something in so I keep that whole amount together. And we get 175. So my total cost after 10 months is 175. When does my total cost reach 250? Well, this is total cost, so it goes in for C. So here's my equation. I'm putting the 250 in for C, and I'm looking for how many months, because it wanted the number of months. When does my total cost reach 250? So to solve this, we first need to get this by itself. Since we're adding 25, we can subtract it. Then we need to get rid of the 15. Since this is multiplied, do the opposite, divide. And M will equal 225 divided by 15 is 15. So it will take 15 months for the cost to reach $250. So the CoReq for this talks about linear lines.